Well, good day to everyone. I hope everyone's doing well. I had the intentions of doing 3 very short cutting videos where I had 3 separate batches of rocks and that I would slice open and see what's on the inside. This first batch was provoked by an earlier find very similar to this, where when I opened it up, it had this beautiful geode on the inside. And while this batch all showed bits and pieces of silica on the outside, on the inside they were all pretty much duds. All except the last piece that I show here, which showed lots of silica in there, and when I cut it open, while it didn't show a geode, it showed a nice, I would call it a plume agate. Has some clear portions and some plumes in there. So I decided to go ahead and do the second batch in this video as well, since the first one was really short. This batch is largely pieces of quartz and or agate. I'm not real sure which until we slice them open. A couple I have real high hopes for, a couple I'm not sure of. This first piece is blue on the outside, and I noticed right at the mouth here that there isn't a whole lot of agate banding or agate material on the outside. So I expected when I cut it open to find, as I did, largely quartz, granular quartz on the inside and not much agate material. This second piece could easily be passed over as a piece of quartz, but I noticed some banding in there, and I thought I'd bring it home and slice it just to see what it looked like on the inside. And as it turned out, it's actually not the granular quartz, but actually the more of an agate material with some really nice pattern. And this piece has all the looks of a quartz or agate knob, but it was very opaque on the outside, and I expected to find it to be opaque on the inside as well, and I was actually very pleasantly surprised to find it had a really nice, I thought, appearance, and a little crystal cavity as well. Here's another one of those pieces, a much larger piece this time, that could easily be passed over as a quartz knob and not considered agate at all. But again, I saw some lines, some banding in there, and thought, well, let's slice it and see what it looks like. I was very pleased with how this looked. This one again is just, has all the looks of a quartz knob. Nothing real special about it. Had to take some time and figure out whether I wanted to slice it long way or whether I wanted to slice it crossways. And turns out there is a nice little crystal pocket on the inside. I don't know if you'd call it a geode or not, but ultimately what I ended up doing with this is cutting it crosswise and then cutting it a second time, so isolating that crystal cavity in kind of a medallion in the middle section with the two ends. Thought that might make a nice pendant if I wanted to make it into something. And then the two ends, who knows? I'll just polish up. This piece was the piece I was most excited to slice open because you could very clearly see bands on the one broken end that I show you there, and was very hopeful because it was a larger size that maybe I'd find a crystal cavity in there with some agate banding on the outside. Was not disappointed with the banding once I opened up. Was very pleased with that. And if I would have cut, say, 1/4 of an inch to the right there, I would have probably sliced into a crystal cavity. You can kind of see it there underneath the surface. Very pleased with that. This is one I didn't show in the previous picture of the group. This, I think, is kind of a seam agate. It's kind of a dark blue to a black on the top and bottom with a little bit lighter in the center. And I actually sliced this before I started the video, and when I saw the really nice pattern on the inside, I decided to include this in the video as well. Take another slice out of it, maybe trying to isolate that pocket, or those two pockets there that we see in the main piece. I was really surprised at the pattern that I found in there. I was expecting kind of a seam agate pattern and ended up with a very different pattern. Still very nice. I really like it. Well, that's all for this short video. If you do like this sort of video, I do have intentions of doing one more cutting video here next, as well as more adventures outside, wading creeks and going down rivers. So feel free to subscribe if you like this sort of video. And in closing, here's a quick peek and a glimpse of what I will be cutting up in my next video. So stay tuned. More is to come.